Okay, hey, it's Mega here. Today we begin the top end rebuild for my buddy here, the KLX140. It's been like a long time coming. I don't really know how many hours it's got. I can tell you how many hours it's got right now, but the hour thing resetted itself. It's got 16 hours, so I'd imagine it's probably got double or triple that. I've probably been riding it more than maybe 40 hours or something. So. Oh, you know what we should do? Yeah. So the first thing we're gonna do is a compression test to see how healthy the engine is, or how healthy the top end is right now. That's the first thing you should do. Totally forgot. So we'll cover the compression tests in another video, but I'll put the results. I'll have a separate video on how to do the compression test. And then just for you know, kind of like a how-to video, and then I'll have another clip right after this and tell you what the results were and how they compare to the specs inside the book. So it's always important to do things the way it says in the service manual. Most of the time. Sometimes I question some of the stuff they put in there, and why not just do it this way, But as much as possible, Hayes and Mega is going to do this by the book. So just to show you, hey, this is the way they intended you to do it, type of thing. So anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is a compression test right before we start tearing everything down, just to see the state of health of the top end right now. The compression is a good indicator, like how worn your top end is, particularly the piston rings and the bore and all that stuff. But we're going to replace it with all brand new stuff. So, but it's good. It'll be good to get a compression test now, so you get a baseline, and then after we rebuild the engine, we'll do another compression test, and then maybe we'll do another one when I feel like the engine's broken in, yeah. So that's that. The next clip will be the findings of the compression test. So. And so if you want to see that video on how to do a compression test on the KLX140, I'll put that at the end of the video, or a link in the description. All right, here we go. Okay, Hades Mike here. So we just did the compression test. Yeah, I know when I make these videos, it just makes working on the bike way more longer than it should be. But anyway, for the average PSI that we got from the compression test was 224 or 223. It was 223. Somewhere around that 220, like 225 area is what we got, and so that means the spec, the highest spec for the KLX is 185. So we're about 40 psi off. Yeah, so we're 40 psi over the spec. So I don't know. Maybe the previous owner installed a higher compression piston, or a smaller head gasket. I don't know what kind of work was done on this bike before I bought it, but I don't think they really did anything special to it, to tell you the truth. I think it's there's probably some kind of carbon accumulation inside the combustion chamber, that or my gauge is reading too high. So, but it's a healthy engine. It looks like it. So. More compression, more power, right? That's the way it goes, right? So I mean, honestly, the bike runs great. So I'm not, there's no reason to tear it down because it's worn out or anything. So like if I wanted to use the parts that are in here still, they're still usable. But even then, I would probably at least install a new ring and stuff. So yeah. All right. So that's the results of the compression test. Now we're going to go tear the bike down for the rebuild. Okay, so the first step is to strip the bike down. So we got to get it so we can take the carb off and the gas tank off. Basically, that's the first steps in removing the cylinder head. And to do that, we'll take the side plastics cover off first. So mine uses a 10 millimeter now because I changed the bolts because I lost them. Yeah. Basically, take this off. Okay. And then I'm just gonna kind of put the bolts back where I find them so I don't lose them. And then there's a little peg right here that you just pull right off. Just gonna
put this back in here. It's got some kind of Loctite on it. It's got some kind of grease on it. All right, we're gonna go to the other side and take that one off. Okay, I'm gonna go take this side off. Ooh. Guess I gotta get rid of my racing numbers. Okay. That's the good thing about having the tape there is it keeps the bolt from coming out all the way if it ever does. I would highly suggest you put Loctite on these when you put them back on. Like I said, they come off all the freaking time. Okay. There it is. So this one has a peg back here. Just gonna put this back where I found it. Don't lose it. And like I mentioned, the stock ones are 8mm. These ones are 10. Okay. I'm gonna put these aside somewhere. Okay, so next thing to do is we're going to remove the seat. Okay, so to remove the seat, you need a 12mm wrench. I say that because there's a nut on the other side. If you don't have anything to hold it, it just spins. So it's a 10mm bolt and a 12mm wrench. Oh my god. I'll just use the wrench. There you go. Okay, that's what comes out. A bolt and a nut. I'll probably just put this in the little tray here. Pretty easy to tell which ones are those. Okay, so we're going to do the other side. I'm going to do it from a different angle so you can see what's going on here. So there's a nut back here that you got to get to. Okay. Okay. Bolt comes off. Okay. Put those together so you don't separate them. At this point, your seat should come off. It's being held on by a little little bumper thing on the front. So what you're gonna have to do is lift the back up and pull it back. It should come out. There you go. This is what I'm talking about. It's stuck in here. If it's properly installed, it's stuck in there. All right, seat's off. Mine has a little tugger strap here. Yours probably won't have that. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is take off the tank plastics, or the tank shroud is what it's called, I think. To do that, we need an 8mm. Okay. So to take the tank plastic off, you need an 8mm. So there's two 8mm on top here, right beside that little mushroom dealie that holds your seat in. So bolt that. Okay, that's somewhere safe. And then there's two screws on the sides of the thing. They're large Phillips head screws. So I think it's like a number 3 Phillips head. That's what I'm using here. Okay, it comes right off. Probably just screw it back in after. I'm just going to get the one on the other side. It's a cake. Okay. Okay, the shroud will not quite come off yet. What you got to do is remove the gas cap. Take the cap off. Make sure there's no sparks or anything going on. And it should just come. Oh, hold on. I missed two. These make it got a little head of himself. Okay, so Hazelmake got a little bit of head. There's another 2 bolts here, 2 8mm bolts. So there's one on this side, and then there's one on the other side. And these are a real pain in the ass to get lined up. Don't worry about mixing bolts up. They all take the same bolt. So as long as you keep the tank bolts together, you should be fine. Take the cap off. Now we can take the cap off, and then the whole thing should just come out. Okay, here we go. Now we have access to remove the tank now. Cap back on. Just put your plastic somewhere safe. Okay, so here we are with the book. So the first step is to remove the fuel tank. There you go. So we're at the point where we can remove the fuel tank now. I'm not going to go over that section in the book. I already know how to do it. So basically, the first thing we should do is light in there. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect the fuel line from the fuel valve here. Is what we're going to do. So as opposed to taking the line off the car. So there's a little little squeezer dealie here, a clamp. I'll loosen that and move it. I'll move it back. Okay, and then I'm just gonna try to move it back carefully. Okay, some fuel may spill. That's why it's a good idea to run your carb dry before you shut the bike off. That's what I did. So there's not a whole lot of fuel in there. All right, and make sure your fuel valve is off. That's the first thing you want to do. Make sure this is off, because when you pull that line off, fuel might just start. Okay, so there's one bolt holding the gas tank on there. Let's see if I can get a picture of it right here. So right here, there's another 8mm bolt. So that's the one we got to take out. So it helps if you have a long kind of socket type thing. I'll be using this T-handle with the 8mm at the end, and it works perfectly. This one's a real pain in the ass to get back on too. It's nothing like fits properly on this one. Like, it was hardly on there. I just undid it a couple threads. It might be stripped. I don't know, man. The tank has never fallen off this bike, but that's what it looks like. It's a special one. It's you know, it's different than most of the other bolts that you took off. So there's no way you can really mix it up. And then the tank should come off now. Let's just go lift it off. I don't know how many times I've done this before. Okay. Alright, gas tank is out. It's got a lot of fuel in it too. Put that somewhere safe. Okay, fuel tank is off. The next step is to remove the carburetor. So this part is going to be different for everyone else's KLX, because my KLX has a KX140 carburetor on it, so it's a little different than thing. But it's basically what you're going to want to do is there's clamps on both sides of the carburetor. You want to loosen these clamps, and then you can get the carb out. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll just kind of speed this section up because it's a little bit different for you guys' bikes. But what helps take it out is a long Phillips head. And all my screws are orientated so they're on this side of the bike. So I'm going to work on this side right here. One of the things you're going to want to do right now is to take your vent hose out. The vent hose goes to your air. Oh, it's to your air box right here. You're going to want to unplug it here, and then just get it out of the way. You're going to have to take it out of the head too. So I will just kind of get that out of the way already. Mine is vented, so it's a little different, but I have a little catch can for it. The carb is out, but I've disconnected the carb, but there's still going to be some stuff that we want to do. Oh, where does this hose go? Oh, this is the fuel line. Duh. So I want to take the, that's a good question. Okay, so I've chosen not to take my carb out all the way. The throttle cable is still connected. It's kind of a pain in, my carb is kind of a pain in the ass to like take out. It's like I said, it's not the stock carb, and it's kind of ghetto rigged a little bit. So I decided to put it in a plastic bag, and just I use a carabiner here to clamp it to the handlebar so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so the carburetor's off. I don't know if we have to take the manifold off. This is the intake manifold. It doesn't say to really take it off, so. But make sure you don't lose any of the clamps here. Make sure all the clamps are over there. You can probably leave the intake, all that stuff there, because we're only going to be working in this area. So. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, the next step in the book is to remove the exhaust pipe. So to remove the exhaust pipe, you got to take out these 2 bolts right here. I think they're 12 millimeters, or two nuts. And then it should just pretty much slide right out. I'm going to attempt to just take the pipe out and not take the muffler out. So what is, there's a head pipe here, and it's connected like right at the back of the heat shield right there. It's just shoved into the muffler. All right. Go ahead and grab your 12 millimeter. Hopefully it comes out without breaking. Okay. Other side is a little bit more difficult. Oh, the other side's already loose on mine. That's not good. All right. So anyway, just so that's kind of a good thing that we're doing this. I had no idea that was loose. That's why my bike is so loud, you know. See how loud this bike is. Okay, these are the 2 nuts. Put them somewhere safe. You can probably tell which one they are because these ones are really rusty because they're exhaust nuts. You should be able to just kind of just take the pipe out. There we go. So all I had to do is just kind of wiggle it out and slide it out of the pipe back here. So you can see it's just kind of a press fit right there. So this is a Pro Circuit T4 exhaust, so it may be a little different than the stock Kawasaki one. And then this is the plate that helps seal it in. Okay, so exhaust pipe is out. Okay, so next what we're going to want to do is take the spark plug cap out. You can probably leave the spark plug in there for now. Just kind of set that off to the side, and then take this the vent hose that we removed earlier. Take it off of the head. I'm just gonna pull it and hopefully it'll come off. I might have to move this. Okay, there we go. So that's the hose right there. You probably want to remove that. There's a little clamp here, so don't lose that. Put it back on the. And this like vents exhaust gases and stuff, so there'll be some carbon and crud on it. So, all right. That's somewhere safe. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick little break here, but so to go over what we did so far is we stripped the bike of all the plastics, and then we removed the fuel tank, and then we removed the carburetor, and we removed the exhaust pipe just now, and then we took the spark plug cap off. So that was actually one step right there too. So then the next step would be to remove the camshaft is what we're going to do next. All right. So we're gonna do it. This is the point of like no return right here soon. Well, we're getting there. All right, here's we go. Also, don't forget to keep track of your parts, like what goes where. I know these ones go to the seat right here. I know these are all for the gas tank and the plastics for the tank, and this one is for the gas tank. This one is like different than all the other ones. This is the one that goes on the center that actually holds the tank in. This is the vent hose for the cylinder head. It's a crankcase vent, or a PCV vent. And then this is your exhaust pipe right here. And then the bolts for the exhaust pipe are right here. The nuts for the exhaust pipe. All right, so far so good. Just try to keep everything, you know, if you have to label stuff and put in different stuff. Like I like to keep like caps of like you know, spray cans and stuff. They're great for holding bolts and stuff, and then you can just put a put like some what's the word, masking tape. Just put some masking tape on top and just write on it what it is, you know, and then when you're done with it, just take the tape out, you know, and you could relabel it again. So it'll work great. So that's why I have these. All right.